All right. All right. So, welcome everybody to SideQuests, a gaming podcast about entertainment, enrichment, and unique perspectives. I am Bobby, and I'm joined by my fellow questers, Sky
Hi, everyone.
and Cody.
Hello.
Um, so yeah, we are here. I mean, if people have been listening to, I'm sure most people who are in the Twitch chat right now, which we're doing this live every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/MrAdventureland. People in the chat know us, know that I've been doing podcasts for a very long time. Up until a few months ago, we were doing it with Miss Adventureland co-founder Justin, who's in the chat today, but to step away for some personal reasons, and I really wanted to get the gaming podcast back out there. And for a long time, Justin and I ourselves have been talking about wanting to bring in more voices, bring in new perspectives, and I can't think of two better people to do that with right now. Very, very excited for the show. Excited to be. I am 100% now the old man of this experience. But it's gonna be good. There's a lot of. I think Justin and I, though we had some different like formative experiences, around the same age, have a lot of the same sort of like life situations going on, and it leads to, well, not boring conversations, a lot of the same conversations, and I'm excited for these new conversations that we're going to have. The door is always open for Justin to join the cast once he is able to. But we're gonna move forward for now, and the show's gonna be a little different. We're not reinventing the wheel or anything here, but we are going to be a little bit different than the normal kind of the old Miss Adventureland game show or the monthly reset or talking games, wherever you know me from listening to gaming podcasts about. Some of that stuff is going to be there, for sure, but we have sort of like a mission statement for the show, and it goes like this. Games don't exist in a vacuum, nor do the people who make them or the people who play them. At SideQuest, games are important to us, but so is how they reflect on our society and our lives. We'll talk about the biggest new releases and the games we've been enjoying, but we'll also not shy away from talking about how they intersect with our lives, our mental state, and the news affecting us all. So if you're looking for a place that just talks about graphics or mechanics, this is not it. We value good faith, open, and well-informed discussion, and we'll work every week to bring you an entertaining and enriching podcast. I hope you will join us along the way. So, I'm very excited to talk about the things we're going to talk about and to dive into, topics that are uncomfortable when we want to do that. And topics that are just pure, silly, and fun when we want to do that as well. All those things are open. You're going to see sort of the flow of the show this week, and how it's going to go. But, every week we're going to have a main segment where we do a kind of a topic. This week is the Mount Rushmore of gaming, and we'll get into what that especially means for this particular list in a couple minutes. Then we're going to do something we call roll for topic, where we're going to roll a d20, and we got a list of random topics that we're just gonna or questions that we're just gonna go off the top of our heads and just answer. And we have a little ongoing game we're gonna do where we could do some predictions. And we're gonna kind of do a running competition throughout the life of the podcast, and then we'll probably talk about some games that we've been playing. That's the journey we're gonna be on. If you end up enjoying the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. It has the ability to do so. Some services don't. Some services do. But those things, reviews and ratings for a podcast are the number one thing that helps the show get discovered. It is a big part of the algorithm that, all those services use is how many reviews do you have? How many ratings do you have? So please, if you look up SideQuests on your podcast platform of choice, you should find us. We'll also have a link in the description to a direct to the RSS feed or to different services, so you can check that out as well. If you're watching the archive of this on YouTube, please like the video. Again, that's the biggest thing you can do for us there. Subscribe to the channel, obviously, if you found us and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It really helps the show get to more people. That's the biggest thing. We want as many people as possible to be able to listen, and that's the biggest way we can possibly do it. But that's all of the business that we have to get through. The ad intro will not be that long every week, but it's a new show and we're launching it, so I wanted to get into it. we have a main segment coming up. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about before we get into any personal life stuff? Any fun stories anybody wants to get into before we hop into the topic?
I'm just happy to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I haven't done something
same.
like this in so long, so it's really refreshing. My internet just can't handle streaming right now, so this is like the only fun that I get these days. Also, hi everybody.
Yes, hi everybody in chat and at Miss Adventureland. We're really excited that you're here. And we got some new people coming in for the first time, which is really, really awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited for all of this. So let's just dive in to the well, Justin says, hey, just subscribed with Prime Gaming. They subscribed for 19 months. Thank you so much, Justin. All the alerts are broken right now. They will be fixed by next week. I haven't streamed on Twitch in, I don't know, irregularly in a year, over a year. So I don't even know. I don't have any of that stuff set up right now. It's been a long time. So as I said, every week on SideQuests, we're going to dive into a topic, a game, or a story. There'll be a central thing we do every week that'll take up most of the time, that we think is worth diving deeper into. On this week's show, we are discussing our gaming Mount Rushmore. But this isn't just like the 4 games that we love the most or we think are the best. There's like a special bent to it. Cody is the one who brought this topic up to us and decided to do it. So Cody, I'm going to hand it over to you to explain what the idea behind this topic is.
Yeah, so I was listening to the Kind of Funny podcast, and they were talking about their movie Mount Rushmore, but they kind of went with like the more like when you think about Mount Rushmore, like video games or movies or anything, it's just my 4 favorite whatever. But there's actually like a meaning behind the reason for the 4 presidents, and so you have George Washington, which is like the founding of the country. You have Thomas Jefferson, which is like the expansion of the country. Abraham Lincoln was the preservation words, and then Theodore Roosevelt was like the unification. And so I kind of took that and like did my own spin on it. And so like George Washington is going to be like the first game you've like fell in love with that made you go, man, I love video games. And Thomas Jefferson is going to be like, what game made you evolve your love of video games? Like something that made you come out of your comfort zone, things like that. And then Abraham Lincoln is going to be the game that kind of helped you through a very rough time in your life. And then Theodore Roosevelt is about unification. So I was like, what's a game that brought you together with friends and like made lifelong friends out of? So that was kind of the theme behind this topic, and I think it's going to be a really good one. So
yeah, it's a great topic. I'm excited to talk about it. And we also have a bunch of listener submissions as well that we'll read at the end. But Cody, why don't you kick it off and just why don't you run the segment, take us through, so you can start it out.
Yeah, so for the video game that like really got me into video games, it's gonna have to be Halo 3 for me. It was I know like obviously like I played a bunch of video games when I was a kid, but like Halo 3 was the first video game that like I fell in love with. Like I purposely was like, I want an Xbox 360 so I could play this game. And it was just a game that made so many memories for me. I met so many people through it. But it was really the first game that like really made me go, man, like video games are something I love. I like spent hours playing it, stayed up way too late probably in like middle school, high school playing it, but like it was the best time. So yeah.
That's awesome. It's it's gonna be so funny doing these lists with you guys because the age gaps is gonna be really funny. Because I mean, Cody, you were pretty close to being a kid when Halo 3 came out.
I was in middle school, so I was
That's
like in
still
like
a kid,
my
Cody.
teens.
Middle school is a kid.
Wait, am I not the youngest?
No,
person here?
Cody is. I was gonna say that to you. Sky in our group chat was like, yeah. I'm really gonna show. I'm really gonna, I don't know who this person is, so I'm really gonna show how young I am, and I'll be like, Cody's younger than you are.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I'm usually
nice 28 years old.
Oh my god, but not by much. I'm like, that's 1 year off me.
Yeah.
We're not too far. Okay. Oh, it's so funny.
Mm-hmm. Justin says, Cody, come on, that's a child.
Okay. Let's go. Right.
If you met somebody in middle school right now, you wouldn't be like, look at this adult coming to talk to me.
That's fair. You got me there. Yeah.
I don't even feel like an all the 29 these days, man.
I mean, yeah.
Holy
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
crazy.
So, I said this in our group chat, but I felt like my Washington game is such like the most basic ass my age person game to say, which is it's just Super Mario Brothers. Like obviously like I wasn't like I was 2 when Super Mario Brothers came out, so I didn't play it when it came out, but I had an aunt who had a daughter who she had bought an NES for, and like her daughter was a teenager, she never really played it. And I went over there one day and visited, and I had a great time, and I kind of like I like begged to get one, and my parents were like, no, you can't have one, no game system for you. And then my aunt just sent it to us in the mail, like sent hers in the mail. And it's Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt were the only thing that were in it at the time. She didn't bought any other games for her daughter. And that was the first thing that I really, understood what games were. My brother had like Atari and had a Commodore 64, and I played like a little bit in his room, but like I didn't really like understand it, or it was just like I just go in there a couple minutes and play around with it and then leave. But Super Mario Brothers was the game that I realized that like games were a thing, and it was the beginning for me, was playing that and Duck Hunt were the two things that I really cut my teeth on. And then like most kids my age, most people my age, I played a bunch of games after that were terribly hard and I didn't understand and like were probably terrible. But and it wasn't until I think Super Mario Brothers 3 came out that I even had like another game that I was like really into. But yeah, Super Mario Brothers is definitely my Washington game.
That's a good choice. I'm Canadian, so I'm gonna preface this by saying I forgot you guys had a mountain with like faces chiseled into it. So I was like, "What's Mount Rushmore?" And then I googled it, and I was like, "Oh, it's that."
Yeah.
I was wondering about that too. Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
okay.
right?
I don't know my U.S. history very well, to be honest. So, I think I get a pass here.
Yeah.
But anyways, my game was Pokemon Red. Hello.
Excellent choice.
Right? So I started gaming when I was really young. So when I was 4 years old, my dad gifted me his Sega Genesis because he had twin girls and he wanted probably twin boys. He never enforced the whole like gender role of toys and stuff. So he was like, here's a Sega Genesis. Also, let's watch Dragon Ball Z. I lived a good childhood. So yeah, I played all of that stuff when I was growing up. And then all of a sudden, under the Christmas tree, there was a Game Boy Color Red with a Pokemon Red. And that was probably when I was like around 5-ish. And I swear to God, I played that game so much. I never put it down. They had to hide it. I remember like distinctly climbing on my kitchen cabinets because I knew that they hid it on the top one, and I would just go through these like death-defying stunts to try to get the Game Boy back. And it was just, I loved it. And I'm a grass starter person. A lot of people don't agree with me on that, but Bulbasaur for life. Like,
yes.
hello.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
I love Bulbasaur. He's my
Bulbasaur's
favorite
the best.
Pokemon.
He's the best one. He's so cute. I just love him. I got Bulbasaurs all over the place. You can't see them on my shelves right now. They're like on the top shelf. But yeah, so it had to be red. I could not put the thing down, and that just kind of like created my addiction. So that's a good one.
I think that 2 minutes was already more talk about Pokemon that's ever been on a podcast that I've been on.
Happy
That's a great
to be
segue,
there.
Bobby. Because my Thomas Jefferson game is gonna be Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum.
Oh yeah.
That was the first game that like I ever like. I looked up everything. Like I was looking up like how to get certain Pokemon, like what was the best teams. I like played online against people. Like Pokemon like Platinum was the game that like really showed me that like there is more to Pokemon games than just like catching Pokemon and beating gyms. Like there's like EV training, there's the egg hatching and things like that. And it really like cemented my love for Pokemon as a series. Like it's a game I played all 3 of those games at least 3 times over because I love Pokemon that much. And it made me go back and play older ones. Like I went back and played like Fire Red and Leaf Green, mainly because I couldn't get my hands on an OG Game Boy at that time. And Nintendo was always weird about like letting you go back and play older stuff. So but yeah, like Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum were like for like 2 years the game I played the most of, and like I remember falling asleep one time with the DS in my hand because I'd been playing it all day, and it fell to hit the floor, and my heart sunk because I was like, I just ruined my DS. Oh no! Luckily, it was okay.
Good.
Um, yeah, and also once again, Grass Starters for life. Turtwig is my boy.
Turtwig's so cute.
Yeah. What about you, Bob?
So my Jefferson game is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for the original
Oh,
Xbox. So I think like, you know, I played games, you know, I had a NES, Super Nintendo, an N64, I had a PlayStation. Like I played games all throughout my childhood, but like I was it was just like a thing I did with friends, you know, most of the time, or it's occasionally by myself, but it wasn't like my main hobby when I was a kid. And then when I went to college, I kind of just didn't play very much for the most of my years in college until my senior year of college. And I had a PlayStation 2, and I ended up trading in my PlayStation 2 and a bunch of games to get an Xbox because I wanted to play Halo and I wanted to play Knights of the Old Republic. Um, and I played Halo, and loved it. And it was almost Halo Combat Evolved. It was almost this game for me. But it really was Knights of the Old Republic, which was a type of game I had never played before. What had a depth of story and character that I had not experienced before in a game. Obviously, that wasn't like a huge thing, especially in 3D games at the time. That depth and level of story. And I just fell in love with it. They had these ideas of choices and how your character changed, the choices you made. I'm not going to spoil it because even though it's an old game, there supposedly one day will be a remake. Who knows if that remake will ever come out? But the twist at the end of Knights of the Old Republic is one of the best story twists I've ever experienced in a game. And it would be, you know, kind of copied a lot in the years following it. But I absolutely adored it. Like, and it was the thing that made me go like, wait, there's more, there are things here. Cause I was a film major and stuff in school and a writing major. And there are things here that I love about other stories and other mediums that I adore. But they also exist here and they're also interactive, you know? And I just like, it really opened my eyes to it. And since then I've been like a full on, like, capital G, gamer. So that was really the game that unlocked all of that stuff for me. Yeah.
so I'm gonna preface mine with a little story.
Okay.
So this is a huge throwback, by the way. Um, on Friday nights when I was a kid, we would take a family trip to Blockbuster. And I was just like 11 this is the game that I played when I was like 11. And I remember pulling it off the shelf because I just gotten a GameCube, and the game was Tales of Symphonia. Now, I grew up watching anime. I did all of this stuff, but I never played a JRPG. So that was my first JRPG, and it had this sweeping story, twists and turns, characters that I loved. It was funny, it was heartbreaking, it was, uplifting in the ways that JRPGs present their stories. They have a very special way of telling a story, that just American RPGs and American games in general just don't know how to copy. They can never do it. So this was my first experience into that genre of video game, and it's now one of my favorites. My favorite game. It's one of my favorite games, but it's also one of my favorite genres. So that really expanded my love of gaming, because not only was that game incredible, but it made me go back and try the other JRPGs that I'd missed. So it was my introduction to Final Fantasy, which I love. It was my introduction to Fire Emblem. It was my introduction to pretty much anything. I walked into Blockbuster after that and got all the anime games. If it had an anime cover, I got it. If it had a Japanese name, I wanted it. So um it was like transcendent. Like I love that game so much. I know it hasn't aged very well, but I try and recommend it to as many people as possible because there's a PS3 version of it now. It's just I loved it. I loved it so much, and I still love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm like the living embodiment of the like Saving Private Ryan, like Matt Damon getting old, like meme right now. As you say, you were 11 years old playing the GameCube. I'm just like,
I know. I'm so sorry.
I'm just getting, no, it's okay. There's gonna be a lot of that as we go through this show.
Uh,
Um,
oh my gosh.
um, all
Yeah,
right.
so next up, I think we have Abraham Lincoln, which
Yes.
is the game that kind of helps you through a really tough time in your life. And so most people have probably heard mine before. Bobby and I did a podcast with my friend Sam about it. It's going to be Bloodborne for me. Um, I am bisexual, and my pronouns are they them. And for a long time, I wasn't like comfortable saying that. And about 2 years ago, when I was streaming Bloodborne, it kind of became this game that I like tied to my identity. Because it was like, if I can beat this game, it's super hard. I could, get kind of past like whatever mental block I was having about that stuff. And I'm not gonna cry right now. Um, and like I fell in love with that game, and it's a game that like it's my favorite game of all time. Which is probably like if I could go back in time like 5 years ago, I'd be like, "You're insane, Cody! Like this, you hate these kind of games." Or I remember I've told this story before. I bought Bloodborne after listening to the Talking Games podcast and played it for all of an hour and then refunded it to Sony by saying, "My little sister bought the game by accident. Can I please have my money back?" And they
That's
believed me,
amazing.
and they gave me my money back. And so to like fast forward to now, I'm like, like my name on Discord is Cody Redmond. My name on Twitter is Cody Redmond. Like that's all because of Bloodborne. Like it's I the game is so special to me for a number of reasons, but helping me get through who I am as a person and like how I identify, like I will always owe that to that game. And it's opened up a door to like some like I love Elden Ring. I played Dark Souls. Like it's something that like I'll always hold dear to me
Mm.
for a very long time. And
That
I'm not gonna cry.
that's
No, you got it. No,
I got
suck
there.
the tear back in. You got
Yeah, I
it.
know, right? Just punch the mic.
Very resilient.
yeah.
I respect it.
Thank you.
No, that's awesome. I mean, obviously, if people that is still up on the Misadventureland YouTube and it's on the Misadventureland podcast feed. If anyone wants to hear that Bloodborne discussion. Yeah, Bloodborne was nearly my pick for this as well, Cody. But in thinking about it, it definitely helped like at the beginning of the pandemic and stuff like that, like kind of getting through those early days that were very, very stressful. But I ended up going a different way for mine, which was Night in the Woods, which was a story-based game where you played as a little animated cat girl who was who was dealing with
Interesting.
those issues. So the year that Night in the Woods came out, which I think was 2016, I think 2016, I think it was. Maybe it was 2015. I can't remember which of those years it was. It was one of those years, I believe. I, for the first time in my life, had started having panic attacks and like serious anxiety issues. And it was very, very scary for me. I didn't know what was going on. I had never had them before. So like, I just didn't know what I was dealing with. And I was trying to figure out ways to deal with it. If people have played Night in the Woods, the main character, she is dealing with, major sort of anxiety and panic issues. And there's this moment sort of later in the game where she describes this moment where she had the kind of a panic attack that sort of like set her life down a different path. She kind of dropped out of college and moved back home. And that moment, like that, her description of that was like the really helped me and unlock something in my head about how I was feeling. And like, I felt like, wow, like I get this, you know what I mean? Like I get what she's saying, and it's sort of like putting a light onto how I had been feeling. And it was really personally powerful for me. And it just came along at like this, kind of perfect moment, which was really just sort of kind of kismet. I had no idea. I was just playing the game. I liked the game, and that moment happened. So that would be the Lincoln game for me.
All right. So I might cry, but actually I will. My grandma passed away yesterday. Sorry. So my game's more recent. started playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and it's a really beautiful game. It's about, finding the beauty in life even through the grief. Sorry. So, it was really helped me cope, and sorry. Thank you
Don't
for the hugs, everybody. I appreciate it.
and don't apologize.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
apologize for your feelings. Like just it, thank you for sharing that.
Of course, I haven't really spoken to anyone about it yet, so it's nice to be able to do that. But sorry for all the sniffles. I know it sounds gross. But anyways, sorry about that. But the themes in that game are just beautiful, and they through the themes are presented through the lens of characters that this isn't a spoiler, by the way. You find this out within like the first 5 minutes, but they only live to be 10, so they don't experience a lot of anything. So there are parts in the game where they're just looking at sunsets or like sharing just conversations around fires. It's beautiful, and it's a nice reminder of the small things in life that you can appreciate. And it's just, I don't know, it's nice to experience a piece of media that shows that to you, because even though the themes are exaggerated because JRPGs are goofy like that, it's nice to have something like that constantly remind you through your hardships that there's still meaning to life, and there's still important things to experience despite the grief and despite the pain that you might experience. So I recommend that game to pretty much anybody who's dealing with loss or dealing with any type of issue in their life at the moment, where they could use a little bit of reminder that things are beautiful. So thank you for letting me talk about that. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Like,
thank
Of
you,
it's-
course.
Sky.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna cry, but Ugh. Sorry about that.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
Skooma wants you to
I mean-
hydrate, Sky.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna hydrate. I got my tea. I got green tea. It helps too. It's comforting.
Mark says
Uh,
about the Xenoblade characters, 10 years old, Cody would consider that middle
Is
aged.
that middle aged?
All right,
Oh my gosh.
You know what? They could vote. You know?
Come on, yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Mhm.
And so, last up on our Mount Rushmore, we have Theodore Roosevelt, which would be like the unification, which is just going to be the game that kind of brought you together with people, and like kind of made like life changing memories. And for me, that game is Overwatch. So in the fall of 2016, after Overwatch came out, I joined Talking Games and did Extra Life with them, and that was the day I met my best friend Sam. Um, and from there, like it's how I met so many people in my life. Like I started doing videos for Talking Games. I got closer to Bobby and Justin. I met Hugh and Kelsey, Matt, and then I met so many people who are now part of like multiple communities that I've been a part of. It led me and Sam to making Geek Art Games, and that was a huge part of my life for a long time, and still is. And it led me to this moment. Like Overwatch is that game that brought me together with so many people, and like for all the negative things that have come out about Blizzard and Blizzard Activision, I mean, I will always owe that game for bringing me together with so many people. And like it, it's gonna be always on my Mount Rushmore forever.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, like, I mean, again, well, what I said at the top of the show is already coming true. We're talking about a lot of serious stuff. I would say, like, what you're talking about, Cody, about like the problems with the company and everything like that. I think like whatever happens with those stories or that company, like it doesn't cheapen or take away the experience you had. You know what I mean? It's not your fault that there are a bunch of shitheads who work, at Activision Blizzard. Like that's not your fault.
Well, boy.
And I think about this all the time with certain things, like let's say like the J.K. Rowling situation, right? It's like Like I think I have to readdress how I'm going to like deal with her and her work going forward, but it doesn't take away what it meant to me and my friends and stuff in the past, right? It doesn't change
Yeah.
that, because that has honestly nothing to do with her, and that your experience has nothing to do with them, right? That is all about that social situation. So I think that's great. I mean, that's awesome. Mine is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Uh,
Interesting. Oh
so
my goodness.
so I didn't play a lot of multiplayer, online shooters, p- before 2016, really very much at all. And I kind of took a flyer on the game because I was doing a gaming podcast, and it's like, this is the big shit right now, so it's like, let's just try it out. And well, when I started playing it, Mark's telling me to abbreviate the name. I was like, it wasn't called PUBG. It wasn't called PUBG Battlegrounds like it's called now, which makes zero sense.
Yeah.
It was just called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And I just took a flyer on it, and like, it started out like I played a couple matches by myself, and that was one experience. But then, like, when I started playing with other people, it started on PC, it was just on PC, and I started playing with Hugh, who I've been playing stuff with for a while. I knew Hugh for a while by then, but we played a lot. And then that is how I got to know Megs. Like, he was just like, oh, Megs is going to join. She had been a listener to like the podcast I had been on for a while, but I had never really interacted with her except for a couple messages on Twitter or whatever. And she joined a game, and she started doing like like almost a daily feature with us where we would like do PUBG games and stuff like that. And that was another friend Dave, who's Crockett on the Discord and stuff like that. And then, like, when it came to Xbox, that was really the first time I was playing regularly with Justin. It was really the first time Andy joined. That it was me and Justin and Andy had the game and had an Xbox. We had an Xbox, and a lot of other people didn't have Xbox at the time, and Xbox Ones, and so we ended up playing like every night for like hours. Like, I put 130 hours in it on PC, and then another 100 and something hours on it on console. And the game was broken as fuck on console. And I played it for like an hour, like, over 100
Oh
hours.
no.
Um,
It's amazing.
it was, but also at the time, like, my wife was pregnant with my son, and going through a lot of like trouble with the pregnancy. And so it was also a good escape game for me at the time too. It was just like all of those things. But really, it's the reason why I, play a lot of multiplayer games. It's the reason why, like, Cody and I probably became friends again. It was probably because of the fact that, I was playing multiplayer games a lot. And it's just been a big connection between me and a bunch of people, leading to a bunch of other games, and it's really important to me, for that reason. Yeah. So that PUBG is the one that they got me there.
No, that's awesome though. That's really cool. So I share a game on my list with Cody. It's Halo 3. Um,
Oh, hell yeah.
I also played Halo 3 in high school, and I used to go to clubs. I used to spend entire nights with like 20 plus people playing Forge maps.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that was my Friday night sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go out to like hang out in the parking lot with the cool kids. I got on Halo.
You were the cool kid.
I
Let's
was
just
the cool
clarify.
kid.
You were the
Come
cool
on.
Hello.
kid.
Come on. And I created so many bonds and friendships just online and in my day-to-day life with that game. Like, I was playing that game with people in the city that I'd never met before, but I just knew we were all from the same place. We obviously couldn't get together because we were too young, but 8 or 9 years later, I still talk to these people, and we did get together a couple times. So it's pretty crazy to think about a game having that kind of impact on your life. But I'm gonna specify and say it was mostly the multiplayer. I did play the campaign a lot with people, co-op, because obviously that was fun. But it's disappointing to say that the recent Halo games have not been able to recreate that experience for me, which is such a shame. So it's always going to be Halo 3 in my heart. That game just was my social life in high school. It was so much fun.
Yeah, when
It's a good one.
when Halo 3 came out, I guess it wasn't when Halo 3 came out. I think it was when ODST came out because they also had the same they just brought the multiplayer over from Halo 3 for ODST.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with a bunch of people then, and like we actually would play a lot of Halo multiplayer split screen, like me and my buddy like on the same screen, and we go online and play and just try to like finish challenges. But it was that and Halo Reach were the two that like that like transition from ODST to Halo Reach. All like those couple years, I played a lot of Halo. Those years
good.
for sure.
So much fun.
Yeah.
You don't get multiplayer games like those anymore. You just
You
Uh,
don't. Yeah.
well, there. You just got to play some Apex, Sky.
oh. Okay,
I actually will say,
let me preface and say you don't get communities that are toxic like that anymore. Halo 3 was just, it didn't feel toxic to me. It just felt fun. Even when people would
I
try.
guarantee you it was probably toxic.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's no
I'm
way.
sure. But
you
when
played
I
with
was
Cody
in high
back in the
school,
day.
Mhm.
It
when
was
I was
toxic.
yeah, when I was in high school, I guess I just had a different threshold for toxicity
Yeah,
because
probably.
I must have probably been dishing it and taking it.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, oh no, someone was mean to me. I don't play this anymore.
I
So,
remember my Halo clan dissolved because of drama, and I was just like,
Oh,
"Oh, this
wow.
is the
oh no.
worst." Oh,
Well, remember the thing. Another thing that would just be crazy. And it's crazy to think about this now. Do you remember like when you used to play multiplayer games and you just load in and the everyone's mic would just be open? Like when you got in the
Yes.
lobby, it would just be like blah, 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 as soon
Halo
as you got
3,
into the
Modern
lobby.
Warfare 2,
Yep.
Open mics.
biggest
Oh, God.
culprits.
Yep. The fact that that was just like a default thing, that used to be like a default
Yeah.
thing, is insane. That it was just like, okay, I'm gonna hear this guy's music blasting at like,
Oh,
like a million decibels, but always broken up because it's like it's trying to pierce through like the
Oh.
crappy Xbox microphone that's like cutting it off. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite YouTube videos of all time is the YouTube video where there's like a Call of Duty lobby and someone's singing a Coldplay song. I think it's like he sings the whole thing and no one else interrupts him. They just let him go. He didn't know. I guess he was like active on chat. And at the end, everyone started singing with him, and he was like, "Oh no!" And then at the end, another guy was like, "Yo, that was beautiful, man." It's such a funny video. I'll put it in the Discord. I'll put it in the Discord later. It's like one of my favorites. It's so wholesome.
A friend of mine sent me a TikTok the other day that was some kid ended up getting into like a Warzone match with like partnered with some big streamer, and like partway, and he's like, I've never won a game, I really want to try to win this. And then he realized, and the guy was like, I'll help you, man, don't worry about it. And then midway through the match, the kid realized, like, looked at the guy's handle and was like, wait, are you this person? And he was like, yeah, man. And the kid was freaking out. He was like, oh my
That's so
god,
cute.
oh my god.
It's so cute.
And he was like
Oh
on
my
the phone with
goodness.
his, you can hear like he's talking on the phone with his friend while he's playing. He's like, I'm on the
Oh,
phone,
I've seen
I'm
this
playing
one,
with blah, 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 or whatever.
I love it.
And he got him, the guy got him a win and everything, and the kid was so excited. It was really amazing.
That's amazing.
But anyway, so yeah, so here we got some listener entries for this. Cody, are you on this page as well right now?
I am.
Okay,
yes.
okay. So do you want to read the first one?
Yeah, so we have good old Groon.
Mhm.
For his Washington pick, he had Pong. It was his first game ever, but I feel like that's a pretty good first game ever.
Mhm, yeah.
For Jefferson, he had his Legend of Zelda. For Lincoln, he had Skyrim and Civilization 6. It got him through some darker days of his divorce. And then for Roosevelt, he had Battlefield 1942. It was his first time playing with a dedicated squad, that's a good one to have.
Yeah, for sure. Next would be Andy, who I think is also in the chat, the aforementioned PUBG Andy. His Washington game would be Adventure for the Atari 2600. Jefferson, also Legend of Zelda. His Lincoln would be Oblivion, and his Roosevelt is Destiny. And then someone named Justin, I'm not really sure like who that is. His Washington was Twisted Metal. Jefferson is Halo 2. His Lincoln is Dead Rising. And Roosevelt, raising a glass to Andy, is Destiny.
It's amazing, guys.
And Mark says in chat, Destiny, that's how I met Andy.
Then we have Sam,
Yes.
who I mentioned earlier. Her Washington would be Super Mario Bros. She says, I played computer games before, but getting a console was a whole other thing. Her Jefferson would be Resident Evil 4. She found out she could play more advanced type of games that way. Lincoln would be Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, which don't let Justin hear that one. It helped her when she was grieving through her dog. And then Roosevelt was Overwatch, where I met all my friends, which makes sense for what I said earlier.
Yes. Hugh, another longtime listener, longtime friend. Washington was Treasure Island Dizzy. Says first game that got me hooked on and coming back for more on my dad's Sinclair Spectrum. Hugh is not from North America. Just so everyone knows. If also this next one also would give you that, Jefferson is Sensible Soccer, which is about the most British ass thing you can probably talk about. I put so many hours into that game, and it was the first that I really invested any deep thought into. Lincoln is Wii Sports. He said, I lost one of my best friends. This was the game we loved to play together. Playing it helped me remember the good times and deal with the grief. As Roosevelt was Destiny as well. I made and solidified so many friendships through that game, many of whom I'm still close to now.
Amazing, guys.
Yeah. You want to read the next one, Cody?
Yeah. This is RWDY Nori. Their pick for Washington was Super Mario Bros. On Nintendo. For Jefferson, it was Mega Man 2 on Nintendo. For Lincoln, it was Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. That's a mouthful. On PlayStation. It helped me get over a horrible breakup. Granted, it was middle school, but it was important at the time.
Well, I mean, he was a grown man at that point, so.
Oh yeah, yeah. True.
You can deal with that whenever you can.
Based off of this logic, apparently, this universe that we live in.
Roosevelt would be Soul Calibur 2 in the arcades. It was my first fighting game. I truly met lifelong friends, and I'm still with to this day. And I think they had mentioned that they played in like tournaments for Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Nori's huge into the fighting game community. That's great.
Awesome. Nori also gifted a bunch of subs earlier in
yes, thank you, Nori.
In this, I wanted to say a big thank you to that. And you want to read the last one, Cody?
Yeah, then we have Alejandro for Washington, picked Super Mario Bros. For the NES. For Jefferson was Final Fantasy VI, aka Final Fantasy III SNES. For Lincoln, it was NFL 2K1. I think it might have been 21. No,
it's 2K1.
Probably just one.
2K1, yes.
That's a weird. Okay. Excuse for couch co-op with my buddies where we could talk about whatever. Around this time, my mom got sick and then passed away. And then we have Roosevelt is Destiny 2, meeting several people from the old Talking Games community.
Yeah. All right. Lots of Destinies on here. And Cody, yes, they were making video games in 2001.
Okay. All right. I guess okay. I heard 2K and it was like that's 2000, and so I was like 2K1. What? Yeah. I don't know why. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not getting picked on. This is amazing.
Oh yeah. No, it's gonna get worse for me from here on out.
Yeah. It'll definitely get worse before it gets better. So that's it for our topic for this week. If you have any thoughts on it, please, you can always, shoot us a message on socials. We're at @side_quests pod everywhere. You can leave a comment below if you're watching us on YouTube as well. Please do that, or you can join our our Discord community, which the link's also in there, and we have a great community, and you can interact with the show there as well. And next week, I think Cody also came up with this topic, right? For next week, or was it you, Sky? Who came up with next week's topic? It was you. I'm sorry. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Okay. You want to talk about the topic for next week?
Yes. Okay. So I love me a well-written character in a video game. So we are going to discuss what makes a character well-written, be it their motivations or how they handle situations that they're in. And in that lens, because that's very subjective, what is good and what is bad can be different for everybody. So we're going to discuss that through the lens of our favorite characters. We're going to pick 3 each, and we're going to describe why we think they're amazing characters, why they stuck with us, why they really influenced us as gamers. And that's next week's topic. And I'm actually really excited to talk about that one because I can talk your ear off about my favorite characters. Oh my God.
All three is going to be the original Kratos from God of War 1. That's going to be everybody's 1 through 3.
Oh my God. That angry man.
Angry man.
Just love it.
Did you respond to the anger? That's the only question. All right. So, our next segment is called Roll for Topic. And I mentioned at the top of the show we have a spreadsheet that we took some listener additions, and we put in some random topics on a spreadsheet. Sky is going to roll a d20, and that whatever number that corresponds to, we're going to do that topic or that question. It's going to be quick. A lot of these aren't gaming focused. A lot of them are just like, hey, random sort of like questions we can answer pretty quickly without any research. If you have any ones you want to get in again, leave us a message on social or join our Discord or leave it in the comments below, and we'll add it to our list. All right, Sky.
I have been itching to roll these dice. I just bought them. They're beautiful. They're made out of amethyst. They're real stone. Here's a shot of the D20.
Oh, wait, move it over. There you go. There. Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, right? It's really
Yeah.
hefty.
Nice.
It's a thick guy.
Nice.
Anyways, I'm going to roll that sucker. Let's go. All right, so we got an 8.
All
Doesn't
right.
roll well, I guess, but So our 8th topic on this list is, this is going to start an argument. Ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup or mustard? Who do you want to go first, Sky?
Oh my God, I'll go first. Okay, mustard. Mustard any day of the week. It tastes better. It looks less disgusting to me. Ketchup, just there's something about it that just doesn't mesh well with me at all. But no, mustard just it pairs well with onion. Tastes good with tomato. Good on a hot dog. There's no comparison.
Can one of the mods start a poll in the chat on Twitch? Ketchup or mustard?
That's a good idea.
Cody, what about you?
I think I gotta go ketchup, which is weird because I was sick when I was younger and I couldn't have ketchup for like 7 years of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so long story. My body produces way too much stomach acid, and so I couldn't have tomato-based products. But I think I just prefer ketchup on a lot. I love ketchup on a hot dog, a burger. I honestly can't tell you the last time I've had mustard by itself on something. Maybe a cheeseburger here and there, but ketchup, I feel just it goes with chicken tenders and French fries, So yeah, I feel but I love honey mustard. Are we talking about straight mustard?
See, I was gonna say
there are many variations of mustard.
Mustard, that's what I mean. You always got a different mustard, and they all count because chat's asking. They all
count. they all count.
Also, a spicy ketchup, from Whataburger, is delicious. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick with ketchup. I feel regular ketchup, spicy ketchup, both good.
Fair enough.
Ketchup is fine on 3 things.
Mustard is on everything.
If unless you're putting it on the side of French fries, if you put ketchup directly on top of your French fries, you're a monster.
You're a monster.
You're a monster. 100%. You're a monster.
You gotta go for the donk, dude.
What kind of how little do you care about your entire hygiene situation that you're putting this red goop? A hamburger, it's good on a hamburger, as well. And that's kind of it. Sometimes if I'm a little hungover, I'll put it on eggs. That's those are the 3 things
with
I'll do.
Scrambled eggs, it ain't bad.
Yeah. Not slathering.
It's not bad on. Yeah, it's not bad on mac and cheese either.
Yeah, it's
mac and cheese with
I
ketchup.
can mess with that.
Again, and here, all these things I'm talking about, right, are sort of I would say not fancy foods, right? They're all sort of very base level foods. I'll give you a story. But the answer is mustard, by the way. It's 100% mustard. Mustard is 100%. Especially spicy, spicy mustard, spicy brown mustard. Yellow mustard can also get fucked right out of here. Yellow mustard is disgusting goop. But we used to go to this bar near where we lived, called Tara's, and it was this place that it was a kind of a divey bar. But they had a huge food menu, and it was all dirt cheap. It was $1 for a hamburger, $2 for a cheeseburger, and then for all they had a roast beef sandwich that that you could get that was $2, and it was really good roast beef. It was on rye bread, and you could get mayonnaise on it, you could horseradish on it, whatever. I had one friend who would get ketchup on it, and I would get so furious at him, that he was putting ketchup on it, and he asked why, and I said, because ketchup is a peasant condiment. That is what I said to him.
Jesus, Bob. Oh no!
That's so aggressive.
I know. Very good. I was like 22 years old. Okay, let me be
And
fair.
then Bobby pulled out his crown and put it on and was like, peasant.
I was like,
How dare you consume ketchup in my presence?
Mustard won the poll, by the way,
Yeah,
resoundingly.
let's go.
78% of the vote. It's good on those couple of things. Meatloaf, as we put it on meatloaf too, because meatloaf is basically a hamburger. It's basically a hamburger that's not on a bun. It's meatloaf.
You're right. Meatloaf is just a hit.
meatloaf
No.
before you put
Ketchup on. No, ketchup.
Oh,
Ketchup.
okay. I was like mustard on
No,
meatloaf.
no. I'm not crazy coding.
Also, like barbecue sauce on meatloaf. That's the play.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is the play.
I mean, barbecue sauce is great.
Spicy sauce. Let's go.
Yeah.
Barbecue sauce is great. We're not talking about other sauces. Just mustard and ketchup. All right.
I was like, if you're talking about other sauces, mayonnaise is the ultimate one.
Mayonnaise
We'll be here all day.
Mayonnaise is the greatest of all time. You can do so many things with mayonnaise. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
think another reason I have like a blah to mustard thing is my dad does woodworking, and he used to take old mustard bottles and put wood glue in them.
Ew.
And he would have them around his shop. And I just remember like walking in there one time and going, "What's this mustard doing here?" And then pouring it out, and it was wood glue. And I was like, "What?" So maybe that's also where I'm coming from. Is that like I just mustard is fucking ruined for me forever? I don't know, but yeah.
That's amazing. That's so funny. So we want to hear what you guys think in the
Yes.
comments, be it on Twitch, which we already discussed, or on YouTube. Let us know. Ketchup or mustard. We won't judge. We'll judge a little.
I'll judge.
But, you know,
From what I just said before, you think I'm not going to judge people who pick ketchup?
King Bobby will come down from his throne and behead you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, you guys. That was fun.
Yeah. Justin wants us to do one really quick: blue cheese versus ranch salad dressing.
Ranch.
Oh, Jesus,
Ranch
disgusting.
all the way.
You
Ranch
guys,
all
ridiculous. As Mark said in the chat, blue cheese, be an adult. All right.
Well, as
Wow.
an elderly man at 28, I'm picking ranch.
Yeah, man. Ranch is just, oh, mwah. Love it.
Ranch is fine. Ranch is good. I like ranch. That's not me saying I don't like ranch, but like a good blue cheese dressing. Oh my god, it's like the best. It's the
I can't get
best.
over the actual physical blue cheese is revolting to me. So I
Yeah.
can't get over it being in a liquefied format.
Oh
Like
my
I just
goodness.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
A nice chunky blue cheese, Marie's
Oh,
chunky
it's
blue
chunky.
cheese.
Nope.
Oh my god, it's so
You
good.
lost me at chunky.
Wing,
Lost me at chunky.
chicken wings. I mean, it's the only thing. It's the best thing I put on chicken wings, 100%. But blue cheese crumbles on a steak. Oh my god, all of these things are like just like the best, just the best.
All right. So this guy, like this is just our podcast now.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Yeah.
Now we're judging Bobby.
Oni
No.
kitty, ranch is not a peasant condiment. No, ranch is not a ranch is delicious. I have no beef with ranch, but like it just does not hold a candle to the flavor of blue cheese. A bacon and blue cheese burger, yes, Mark. Oh my god, so good. Oh, blue cheese on a burger.
This is a food podcast now.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
we really
It's
unlocked like
so
a Pandora's
good.
box with this.
blue cheese is also one of my
Next week.
favorite things in the entire world. Sky, I cannot believe that you are an Italian and you don't like blue cheese.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
My family is also Italian, and every meat plate that gets put out has like all the smoked
No.
meats, and then like and then one of the cheeses is always blue cheese.
Parmigiano.
Yeah, Parmesan is
Th-
great,
no.
but that's come on.
We don't no blue cheese on my charcuterie board.
Yes,
sir.
blue cheese belongs on a
No.
charcuterie board. Yes,
Not on mine.
the stinkier the cheese, the better is the way it should go.
So,
Yes, the stinkier the cheese, the better tasting the cheese. That's just the way it goes. That's just a true statement right there.
That's not Gouda. I gotta go there.
All right.
oh
Well,
man.
and
Oh man.
our one and only podcast with Sky after that joke. All right, so that's it for Roll for Topic. We'll do it again every week. We're gonna do it. So if you have any, like Sky said, let us know what you thought of this topic, but also give us some other topics because we want to fill out this list of things. We're gonna keep adding and stuff like that. We got some good ones on there, so that was a good
Yeah,
one
we
to start
gotta
with.
swap the ketchup and mustard out with the new ones.
Yes,
So
yeah.
suggestions, let's get them.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I should probably delete that just so we don't do it again by
Do it
accident.
again.
Do it by accident.
3 weeks we start arguing about it again.
Yeah. So okay. So our next segment is our ongoing competition. I love playing games. I love competition. And so I'm bringing this podcast way back. I did this podcast called Fanboy Remix that nobody listened to. It was a movie podcast before I ever did anything. I did it for 3 years, 100 episodes. Nobody listened to it. But we did this really fun thing where we had this ongoing contest with each other where we would try to predict the box office every week. And, we predict the box office and then basically like add up the number that we were wrong by. And then whoever had the smallest number, like golf rules, basically the smallest number at the end of the thing, the other people on the podcast had to buy that person dinner, basically. We're not going to do
I love that.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, we can't buy each other dinner because we all live in wildly different places. But I say same thing, but whoever wins gets a $20 gift card to their online game store of choosing from the other two.
Oh, I love that. Oh,
all right.
We're putting stakes on this.
Oh, there's got to
one.
be
This is
stakes. You can't play.
exciting.
It's like if you're gonna play poker with your friends, you got to at least put $5 in the pot.
It's true.
You know,
Yeah.
it makes it way more interesting. We're gonna do a couple of different kind of things, I think. But for one of the things we're gonna definitely do is trying to guess the Open Critic score for a game coming out. There's a couple of things coming out this week, but the biggest one is probably Cult of the Lamb, which is from Devolver Digital. It's a roguelike, also sort of like life sim. It's got, if people don't know what Cult of the Lamb is, it's a very interesting game. It's a roguelike like you've seen, like it's more like a Binding of Isaac type of situation, but as you go out and do these things, you're kind of collecting followers and they go back to your home base, and then in between runs at your home base, you got to kind of keep them happy. You got to build structures, you got to feed them, whatever. So it's got a little like Stardew Valley going on, and then it's got a little, one of the 7,000 roguelikes that comes out every single year. It's also got that going on as well. I played the demo of it when it was out in that Steam Next Fest or whatever, and it was pretty cool. But I'm wondering what we think the aggregate score is going to be. So people don't know, OpenCritic is like Metacritic. And it basically aggregates reviews from across the spectrum and gives a score out of 100. So just so people can like kind of know, I'm going to go to the site right now and just tell people like what the deal is. So let's see, like, Bear and Breakfast, an indie game that came out last week, has a 76 aggregate score on OpenCritic. Now, Digimon Survive has an 80.
Nice.
So, and their 2022 Hall of Fame, just so everyone knows, and it lines up pretty closely with Metacritic. But just number one for the year is Elden Ring with a 95 aggregate. Something called Freshly Frosted that came out in June, which I've never even heard of that game, has a 91. Norco, which is an indie-based story game, has a 90. Neon White has a 90. Not for Broadcast an 89. Rogue Legacy 2 an 89. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 an 88. Horizon an 88. Gran Turismo 7 an 87. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge 87. Strange Horticulture 86. And Total Warhammer 3 has an 86. So just give everybody kind of like a baseline for what's going on there. I think like Bear and Breakfast, Frogun, which is like Frogger, but you have a gun, got a 74.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good. It's got a punchy tagline there.
That's hilarious.
So we're just gonna go whoever gets closest to the score. We're not gonna do like Price is Right rules. Like you can't go over because that doesn't really make sense for something like this. But we'll say though, if there's a tie, like if someone guesses an 81 and someone guesses a 79 and it's an 80, right? We'll give it to the person who didn't go over. All right, that will kind of lay the base rules. But if someone gets an 81 and somebody guesses a 76, the person who guessed the 81 will get it because they're closest.
Fair enough. That seems fair.
Seems fair, right? We're not trying to guess a monetary value, on something. So, who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Sky.
So I love Devolver Digital. I love them. They're so zany and weird, and they have the best like showcases. They always make me laugh. And their games are always so colorful and bright and interesting and unique. And there's no other studio like them.
No,
so
that's
I'm
true.
gonna go out on a limb and say it's gonna get an 85. because
Okay.
again, I haven't seen much about it, but I know in its name it is a cult of lamb. It literally has a cult following right now. Like people are losing it over this, and they got to be losing it for a reason. It's got to be good. Even just even if it isn't, it's going to be good for a large number of people because from what I've seen, there's just a lot of hype about it. So I'm gonna give it a nice, generous 85 because Devolver Digital, little biased, love them to pieces, and I don't know, you just can't go wrong with one of their games. They're just fun. They're a fun studio.
All right. Cody.
I think I'm gonna go with an 88. I think.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay,
Ooh.
but like I think because you're mixing two genres between like the
Mhm.
Stardew Valley like sim kind of thing and then the roguelite, like those are popular. Like Animal Crossing, Stardew, those are
It's
huge.
true.
The 9,000 roguelites. So I feel like combining them, it's gotta be good. And then like
Hell yeah.
Cult of the Lamb just seems really awesome. I follow a couple of people who've like gotten early previews of it and like it seems pretty cool. Like I'm gonna try it out. So like I think it could get an 88. Like it
88.
seems like one of
Wow.
those indies this year that could get pretty high.
That would put it right in their Hall of Fame for best reviewed games of the year so far.
I think it could do it.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna go a little lower, still in the 80s. I still think it's gonna review very well. But I'm thinking more like I'm gonna say 82 is gonna be my guess. Just judging by even like some of their better reviewed games over the last couple of years. Some of them have fallen right into that sort of like space. So I think I'm gonna go with an 82. Because my thinking is because of the 8,000 roguelites, right? That I think there's gonna be some reviewers who are kind of like a little bit tired of another one, right? And they're going to be comparing it to other ones that came out this year, like Rogue Legacy 2, which got very good reviews. So I think it's going to go somewhere underneath Rogue Legacy 2. So that's my reasoning why. But I think it's like I said, I think we all agree it's going to review very well.
Totally. 80 scores are great.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely
I was
going to
gonna
review
say,
well.
I think my original pick was gonna be 83 because I was like in my head like, oh, because it's trying to do too much,
Mhm.
like two different things at one time, it's gonna review like one's gonna be lacking in comparison to the other. And I was like, it's probably gonna get like an 83, 82. But then I was like, or it's just gonna do really well. Let's just go with an 88. So
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Just so you know, Inscription got an
ooh,
86.
I love
Ooh,
Inscription.
Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay.
good.
And Death's Door got an 83.
Death Store was also cool though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll see. But you know what? For some
God,
Cody's
reason,
all of a
eyes are
sudden,
darting back
not
and
feeling
forth.
good about my
I
picks
don't
anymore.
think, maybe I should change my answer.
but for some reason, like people just love Devolver games.
No, they
So I
do.
don't know.
No, they do.
I got my number. I got my 85.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I'm gonna sit on that.
There also has not been a lot of big games coming out, so there is like a chance
Yeah.
that also you're going to see review scores inflate because it's actually a game that people are excited about and want to play.
Totally.
I mean, for goodness sakes, Stray got an 84, and Stray is a good game. It's a good game, but it reviewed very highly because people were very hungry for a game.
Yeah.
So,
And also, there's a cat in it. Like,
yes,
hello.
also true. Also
Yeah.
true.
So cute.
Yes,
When
also
does
true.
Cult of the Lamb come out?
It comes on the 11th, so it comes out this week.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that one. I think that's on everything too. I think Cult of the Lamb is on everything. Let me look it up too. Cult of the Lamb. Yeah, PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. So it is on everything. Maybe
You'd
by a
love to see
developer
it.
called Massive Monster. Is the name of the developer that made it. All right. So let's talk about what we've been playing. How about that? I would like to start with Cody because I am extremely interested in the first game that is on your list, which is PGA Tour 2K21.
Oh, it's amazing.
So Sky, I don't know if you know this. Bobby and I are in a group chat with a couple of our friends, Justin, Andy, and Mark. And the title of the group chat for the longest time was 101.5 Sports Talk with the Boys.
Yes.
Because they would go in there and talk about football and baseball and stuff. And I don't like sports at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like the closest I get to it is pro wrestling. Um, and so I remember telling Alejandro the other day, like, "Oh yeah, I'm playing PGA 2K21." And he's like, "You're playing a golf game, Cody?" And I was like, "It's relaxing. What do you want from me?" And that's like what it's.
Mm-hmm.
I got it probably about 3 weeks ago. I think that's when the Steam sale was, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago. It was on sale, and I had some people who had played it in the past recommend it to me, and it's honestly just really relaxing to go in there. It plays really well on a controller. Do not try to play with a mouse and keyboard. It's terrible. Um,
Why would you try to
like
play with a mouse and keyboard?
exactly, but people do it. I don't
I
know
know, I'm
how.
sure, I know.
Because like you have to like pull the mouse back and then rush it forward and let go at the perfect time. It is terrible. But on a controller, it feels really good. And I don't know. It's. I've played golf one time in my life with my grandma's boyfriend, and it was awkward as hell.
Mhm.
But playing digitally, it's relaxing. It's like fun. It's like cool to like strategize like where you're gonna hit the ball based on wind, which is the weirdest thing I've ever said about a video game ever. But yeah, um, I don't know. It's been that game I play whenever I just want to like de-stress from a long
Mhm.
day at work. Like I just started a new job 2 months ago, and like it's not like a stressful job, but like there's just like you doing so much in a day, and you just want to come home, and everything else seems like way too stressful to do. And playing PGA has been that game for me to where I can just kind of relax. It's also been like just a game I can like play for hours and like have a good time with. And I honestly cannot believe I'm playing a PGA game ever in my life. I will say, I play online, and you can design your character. And I have bright purple hair, bright pink hair, bright pink beard, snake eyes, and am head to toe in like skull and crossbones.
Hell
And
yeah.
every time if someone has a mic, they go, "Holy hell!" immediately upon seeing my character, and it's the best. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I'm terrible at it. I'm not good. Like but it's fun. It's a nice like breather from just the normal games I play. So yeah,
Chat reacted strongly to you playing a
I was
sports
waiting
game.
for it. I was like,
They did.
I
It's
was like, oh
amazing.
gosh.
Also, Mark says challenge accepted about playing mouse and keyboard because he played Forza
Ugh,
Horizon 5 on a mouse and keyboard.
why? What is wrong? What is wrong with
You
Mark?
also
Mark-
he
Mark-
played Multiversus with us the other night. Was it
Mhm.
Multiversus, Mark, that you were playing mouse and keyboard? Because I think you were playing there was something you were playing crossplay with us with, and you were playing on a mouse and keyboard. Anyway.
Oh,
just
Andy
just
does
on the
bring up.
topic. Mark messaged me earlier today and was like, "Hey, when's Valo night?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "Bro, can I play with a
Okay.
controller? Like, what do we do here?" And he
Yeah.
was just like, "No, mouse and keyboard. Hello."
Yeah,
I
no.
was like, "No, can't. I don't use mouse and keyboard ever."
Yeah.
So
Mark gets angry at the idea of them ever putting Valo on console because he, even though he would never have to play with the people who play it there and never have to play it himself, gets angry at the idea of people being able to play with the controller. That he gets like angry about it.
I'm not. He's so
all
funny.
caps.
He's so
Oh.
funny.
Sam says you need to play the Turbo Golf Racing game, which is like
I
Rocket
do
League
want
Golf.
to try that out. She posted a clip the other day of it, and it looks really fun.
It's just on Game
And
Pass.
like, oh, is it? Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh,
it's on
okay.
Game Pass. I got it downloaded already. It should be fun. You were gonna.
I was like, Andy does bring up that there was a 2 week process where I tried to watch football with y'all and was
Yeah.
a Bears fan. So
Mhm.
yeah.
By the way, we like the sports talk only happens like once or twice, like a month. Serious sports talk only happens like once or twice a month. But when we talk about it for a while.
Oh God, yes.
And then Cody will just send a message like in the middle of being like, "This is great."
It's like last month, I think I had to mute the chat because y'all were just going, and I was like, I looked back at my phone at one point, and there were 72 text messages, and I was like, all right, guys, come on, like, what is even happening? Something in sports, I don't know.
Cody's like, "Is there some sort of gaming event going on? Is there a
Yeah,
press
right.
conference happening?"
I was like, oh, did I miss?
Unbelievable.
Well, speaking of, you mentioned the game you come home and you kind of just like use it to relax from work. That's what I've been doing with Power Wash Simulator.
Oh,
I've also been playing on it. It's on Game Pass on Xbox. And yeah, I just like I literally like there when I'm done with the whatever like the main game I am that I'm playing is, and I'm kind of getting tired, or the edible is kicked in to a point where I can't really focus on the game anymore.
Oh, I feel you on that.
Yeah. I'll like what it's great for is I don't really have a commute anymore, like because I work from home always now. So like being able to listen to like podcasts is like completely gone out the window for me in a lot of ways. Like a very small window. So what it's really good for is like I'll just put a podcast on and I'll just play for like an hour and catch up on podcasts that I've been doing. And like every single time I play, there'll be a point in the middle of my session where I'll be like, what am I doing? I have that moment. Like every time I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And a couple of weeks ago, we had a leak in my apartment and the floors kind of got ruined. So the landlord had the floors replaced. And these guys were over all day replacing the floors. And while they were replacing the floors, I was playing like Power Wash Simulator on my Xbox, and I felt like an asshole. Like I was like, oh, you guys are doing like real work, and I'm doing like something that's work for people that like I'll play it on my Xbox, But I will say it is very relaxing, and it's real. It hits like that certain part of your brain because it's like, man, this stuff's real dirty. And then when I shoot it with this power washer, it's not dirty anymore, and like it feels like really good. It has like this really good feeling to it.
It's relaxing until you miss a spot, and then you gotta go look for it.
Yeah.
Then it's
My
not.
one real criticism of the game is that most of the time it's pretty good. If you get to a certain point with the cleaning, it'll go like ding, and it will like wash away all the other the little dots of dirt that you miss as long as you get a certain percentage. But there are certain times because it's like based on how big the area is, how much can be left over, or it'll give you like a completion on it. Sometimes when you have a little thing to clean, like there's times where I'm like searching for like the dot, like, and like there's a button you hit that will like highlight what's dirty still, it will highlight it in like orange or whatever. But sometimes I'm doing it and like it's on the underside of a wheel, and I'm like having like get down, like go prone and like just shoot the power washer underneath until it just like it dings. So there are times where that happens. But for the most part, it's just really relaxing. And I put the podcast on, and I wouldn't be able just to sit there, right? I couldn't just sit on my couch staring at nothing, listening to a podcast, right? I couldn't do that. So usually I'll wash dishes, I'll listen to it when I wash dishes, or when I'm cooking, or like I have a little portable speaker and like a shower, I'll listen to the podcast, and that's how kind of I put it together. But it's been I've really caught up on my podcasts, like playing Power Wash Simulator. I must have played it for, I don't know, 12 to 13 hours at this point. So
anytime I get on, I see it's like Bobby Shorter was playing Power Wash Simulator. And I'm like, okay, Bobby, see you.
I see
Also,
you.
that game is like a really good. Like I've never like been one who's like, oh, I love ASMR, but like putting one of those on in the background
yeah.
and like it's just relaxing. So
Yeah.
I can see how playing it is the same.
Yeah, and you hit left on the D-pad, and you don't have to hold down the trigger to spray the water, so you just like let it spray itself, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's good. And like all different, it's and also like it is enjoyable at times, and like it is definitely, and it definitely is broken through for like one of these games that is like these meme games, you know what I mean? It definitely is broken through farther than a lot of them. Maybe it's the Game Pass like part of it. And I never would have played it if it wasn't on Game Pass, right? I never would have bought Power Wash Simulator. So it's been fun to do that. Sky, you talked about Xenoblade already. I don't know if you want to get back into that.
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, because now I'm not like wiping the mascara stains off.
Okay.
I can actually talk about it because it's amazing. So it's been getting like aggregate scores like super high pretty much everywhere, and I'm a fan of like Xenoblade. I've played all three of them. I played the original, like the first one on the Wii. So like as soon as it came out, I had that thing, and it was hard to find. I worked at EB Games at that point when it came out, so I was like, give me that game. It's gonna like so they're amazing to me. So the first one, it had criticism because the characters were kind of bland. So Monolith Soft takes the criticism from its fans, which I find super refreshing. So in the second one, they hired a new designer, they made the characters super colorful, super anime, and that was to its mixed benefits. So a lot of people like the new designs, but a lot of people also thought, hey, maybe dialed it up a little too high. So they took that criticism and they made the third one. And the third one is like the best of all worlds. They kept the same designer, but he kind of toned it down in the way the first character, like the first game's characters were created. So they're still colorful, they're still fun, but they're realistic and they're smart. And I've never played a JRPG that rewarded my intelligence before because, like I said, these characters have these, they've, they live for 10 years and all they know is war. So they are strategists. They are a little bit cold, a little bit emotionless. They start to get better. They unlock those emotions as they go because now there's camaraderie involved and there's things to fight for and there's stakes in play that they never realized could ever be in play because all they ever knew was fighting for one cause that, they were fighting to die essentially. So now they're fighting to live. But they're smart. They sit down at campfires and like there are extended cutscenes of them literally going, okay, here's the plan. Here's what I have a problem with this plan. Here's what we're gonna do, and they execute it, and it's awesome. Like there isn't a single stupid character in that roster. It's really impressive because some JRPG characters are dumb as doorknobs. Like they are idiots. Like, oh my God. I sometimes a character makes a stupid decision in a video game and I'm like, that's JRPG writing. But no, they are smart and it is refreshing. And there's like these scenes where, like I said, they have these like quiet, nuanced scenes where they walk by a pear tree and they've never had a pear before, so they eat the pear and they talk about it at the campfire, like, oh, that was amazing. I never knew I could do that. At one point they learned that like people who can live more than 10 years procreate. They had no idea that was a thing, so they met people who had wrinkled faces and they'd sit down at the campfire and be like, these people are aged. I don't understand. We don't look like that. So like it's brilliant. It's an amazing game. So I'm having a great time with it. And like I said, it's helping me with that situation, which is great. But even still, I would have enjoyed it nevertheless because the themes it presents, like as I said, are exaggerated, but they're very, very comforting. And I would recommend it wholeheartedly. You don't have to play 1 or 2. It has references to 1 and 2, but they're more like passing characters or names or like a photograph on a shelf or something. So it rewards your intelligence, or rather, it rewards your experiences with the previous games, but it's not a prerequisite. So, yeah, it's amazing. I love
Cool.
it.
I've considered because of the reviews trying it out. It's just like I just know myself, and I know like the length of the game
Oh yeah.
is always like a deterrent for me. Like it takes a very particular kind of game to let me play for as long as that kind of game is going.
Long.
And the other part of it
Gargantuan.
too is whenever I am playing the Switch, it's like a beacon for my son to come like running over and be like, "What are you playing?"
What are you doing? No, I totally get you. Yeah, it actually functions really, really well on the mobile mode. So I've been playing it like on my couch. Like I like just with like a tea or a coffee next to me and some like snacks. And I've just been playing it on my couch, in my bed, anywhere I can pick it up and I haven't been able to put it down. It's amazing. I have it docked over here because it's charging, but I haven't played it docked yet because I love the Switch. I love being able to do that. So yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome. That's really great. I want to talk to you about Multiverses, Cody.
Yeah.
I played some of it as well.
Mhm.
How are you feeling about it?
So like I really love like Smash Brothers, and so
Mhm.
like obviously that's a big influence for this game.
Yeah.
Um, I think it does a lot of cool stuff. I also just wonder the longevity of the game, both in like
Mm.
a how long can they keep it monetized, and also how long can a pro scene last around it. Um, like I like that it seems like it's a lot more approachable
Yeah.
than Smash Brothers. Like I got into a couple games and I I felt like I was doing a lot better than I ever did in Smash Brothers. Like I'm not like great at Smash Brothers, but like I can hold my own. And like this one, like I was playing as Wonder Woman for the like 5 games I played, and I felt like I was wrecking house a little bit. Now I don't know. I
Good
hope I wasn't
feeling.
playing against AI. I think I was playing against a real person, but I think it's also kind of cool to me that they incentivize like duos. Like they
Yeah.
that's their main mode is duos. It's not 1v1. Um, I think the roster is really cool. Never in my life have I seen LeBron James as a character. play as, but it's there.
So funky. Like I love
Yeah.
it.
The weirdest thing
Um,
about the LeBron James
So
thing,
weird.
the weirdest thing about it is that LeBron James doesn't do the voice of LeBron James in
what?
the game.
Gasp.
He's a real person. And
Yeah.
like they have like a voice actor doing like the voice
Oh my
lines.
gosh.
So why is he in the game? Is it from like
Space Jam.
It's Space Jam.
It
Space
is
Jam.
Space Jam.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Oh
doing.
my
I mean,
God.
it's doing fantastic. By the way, like its Steam
Oh, yeah.
numbers. Like I'm looking at Steam charts right now. It has 83,000 concurrent players right now.
Holy
Its
shit.
peak today was 92,000. Its peak overall has been 153,000.
Yeah.
So like it is like it's doing great, and that's just on Steam. Like that's not even counting
Yeah.
console. So it's doing great.
Yeah, and I think like it being free to play,
Yeah.
that's what's helping that a lot. But also because it's free to play, that means it's more accessible like hackers and stuff. And so I do wonder like, does that end up being a detriment to that? Like especially for Steam.
Yeah.
Obviously console like it's pretty hard to hack on a console
Yeah.
currently. I like it a lot. I could see myself playing more of it. I've been wanting to hop in with you and Justin and Mark.
We should.
I just haven't had my PlayStation 5 hooked up. And
It's got
I don't know,
crossplay,
it's
baby.
oh, does it?
Go.
Yeah. It's fully
Okay, I'll have
crossplay.
to-
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to hop in then.
Yeah,
next
yeah,
time I'll do it.
Yeah.
I can't stop chuckling right now because of the LeBron James comment because my mom like recently just called him LeBron James and like it was so funny and I can't get over it. It was she was like totally drunk and she was like, "Yo, LeBron James," and I was like, "Okay, okay, mom, sit down."
The character for me that's like out of nowhere for me is Arya Stark. Like I was not expecting them to put a Game of Thrones character.
Yeah,
in
it's
this at
crazy
all.
that Arya Stark is in it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it for sure, and it's nice. It the main detractor for playing Smash in like a social situation is that the online is terrible, right? The online is shit in Smash Brothers. Because I'd much rather be playing Smash Brothers than Multiverses, but it's really difficult to play it with a group of people that aren't in the same room as you. So it's cool in that way. And I like as the character roster is cool. I like the clean sort of like stylized look they have. And I think they have like that Rick and Morty stage, which with like the giant speakers or whatever. I don't know if you played on that one. That one is really, it's a really cool stage. It's got a lot of really cool stuff going on, cool music going on. My main like detractor, I think, against it as compared to Smash Brothers is that it just feels a little lifeless. Like as far as like the sort of like window dressing around it, right? Like it has no they have no like big special moves, right? There's no final smashes or whatever, and like so no big visual pops. Because they have this, they're making the characters very sort of like very simply doing a simple design aesthetic. There's not a lot of detail in a lot of the characters. And you compare that to Smash Brothers, there's so much detail in all of those characters, and they have such specific like moves and stuff like that to themselves that like it really makes that game stand out in a lot of ways. But I think it's fun. I think it runs really well. It works really well. I've enjoyed playing as Bugs Bunny. That's been a lot of fun. It's cool. I continue to be like a little bit like annoyed by Warner Brothers deployment of the Iron Giant as like this like mascot character, because I'm like, has no one doing this ever seen the Iron Giant? The whole point of the character.
So sad.
Yeah, it's so sad.
It's a sad movie.
The only thing in the world he wants is to not fight. That's the only thing in the world he wants. And then you keep throwing him in these things where he has to fight.
Have you
You-
seen
such a
if you
good
do a
movie.
duo with two Iron Giants, how he turns into like a super Iron Giant?
No, I have not
It's
seen that.
Oh, it's
have not seen-
wild to look at.
I know you can. I know you can control the Iron Giant with the other character. When you duo, and like I said, that is cool. There are like all these duo moves they do, and there's a lot of like, there's like support characters, and every character has some sort of like move that will injure the other team but help their own team. Like that. That is cool. I like that, and the online's been holding up pretty well so far. I've had a couple of times where kind of first couple of days there was some issues, but like as far as the experience has been really good. But just like you, I wonder about the sort of the tail on it, not so much the pro scene, because I don't care about that stuff, but like the but just like, is it going to get stale, right? Are you going to end up doing online matches and it's going to be all Bugs Bunnies? Is that all it's going to be?
The meta is Bugs Bunny.
The meta right now is Bugs Bunny for sure.
Oh shit.
Technically, the like lower bracket meta is Taz.
Okay.
Because apparently Taz just destroys at low levels.
Okay.
I'm a nerd and like
Yes, yeah.
Cody,
Oh
If you,
my
if you want, if you
myself.
wanted this information about any game that Cody is marginally interested in, they will have it
Yeah.
for you. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I really gotta agree with you. They definitely went for a like simplistic approach to like their art design stuff, and like the biggest tell for that is like I played Smash Brothers just Saturday with my friend Joe,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was able to like when I was playing like Kazuya from Tekken,
Mm-hmm.
and I grabbed Ganondorf and smashed him into the ground, and he went flying across the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and it was colorful and bright and stuff. And in Multiverses, I don't think I've had like a punch or a hit where it like zoomed in to me like stabbing somebody with my sword as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like it just, I think like that's the point. They want it to be like readable. Like watching
Yes.
these tournaments I've been watching, like the casters can clearly tell you like who has a debuff and who has a buff, and like what's going on in the game. And like that's good for the esport side, but like I kind of like a little bit like with like the Smash Brothers weight to it. Like I like if I'm punching somebody, I'm knocking them out, like it zooms in real close and shows them flying off, kind of thing. And yeah, and then yeah, I just as far as like the pro team thing for me on the esports side, it's just kind of like I know a lot of people don't like 2v2. Like it's never been a popular thing in Smash Brothers. It's always been 1v1.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if they pivot and also try to like incorporate that as like also really supported and making sure characters are balanced for that. And so
Right.
that's kind of bad
Right.
with that.
I don't even know if it's gonna have a pro scene because, like, if you say Super Smash Bros. In front of like a super FGC person, they look at you like your head exploded. Like, they don't even accept Smash Bros. As like a
Yeah, but Smash Bros is a
competitive fighting game.
huge like
It's
pro
huge
scene.
in other ways,
Pro
but like
scene.
it's not like Evo. It's not pro scene.
Oh,
you know?
it'll be at yeah. Wasn't it? It's usually at well, Nintendo allows it. It ends up at Evo.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes they don't allow it to. Nintendo is like.
Because I just know some like I have like IRL like FGC people that are just
yes.
like no.
Fighting
no,
game
I'm
snobs
a
do not like
stickler.
Smash Brothers.
No,
Fighting
they
game snobs do
don't.
not like Smash Brothers, but it
They
is
do not.
immensely popular.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
They just did a tournament and like it was WB like funded, and I think like a guy posted he got fourth and he got paid $12,000.
God damn.
And in comparison, a dude got fifth at a Smash Brothers tournament the other day and got $75.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean they're supporting it. Like WB is obviously supporting it.
Yeah.
It's just I just wonder how long they can like keep it going.
Yeah.
And if
we'll,
they, like-
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. that's the
You know, I think the funny thing about Smash Brothers is that Nintendo is like openly hostile to like the competitive
yeah.
community. They don't care. Like it's like the opposite of like the Overwatch situation, right? Where Overwatch like kind of like changed the entire like game to fit the pro scene. Nintendo's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, like we're gonna actively try to stop you from playing this game in any sort of tournament, tournament way.
it wasn't like I think it was last year they came out with it was a mod for Melee where you could play Melee online.
Yeah.
And like Nintendo sent a cease and desist.
Yeah.
Oh
like,
my
Nintendo's
god,
just
they're
a-
on it. They're on it though.
Oh yeah, no.
Nintendo's
Nintendo
crazy.
has the best lawyers in the whole video game industry. They do not like even start. Mark said he did spike somebody with Wonder Woman down into the pit, and that was very satisfying. There was a moment where I definitely Justin and I were playing online, and we were fighting people who were definitely better than us. They were definitely better than us. But they were, they kind of knocked me off the side, and they were coming to kind of try to finish me off, trying to get a little greedy and finish me off. And they just mistimed it by a little bit, and I was Bugs, and I sent that rocket. He does like a thing where he sends like an Acme rocket like straight up into the air, and I just hit them right at the top of the stage with the Acme rocket, and they both went flying out. They had like 30% total damage, like the two of them, and they got knocked out. And Justin and I giggled for like 10 minutes after that happened.
What a good feeling.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think it's cool. It was much better. I said the turnaround, when they announced it, everyone thought it was going to be a joke, right? Everyone thought it was going to be terrible and it'd be a joke. And the fact that it's this now is pretty interesting. It's better than that Nickelodeon one that got made. That one's also not bad.
God.
That one's not bad.
I haven't heard bad.
They put
things about
voice acting in it
just-
finally, so it's not like
Oh,
a
that
weird,
helps.
dead,
Yeah.
like lifeless thing anymore. Because it was so weird when they first came out, and there was like all these famous characters who are famous for talking a lot, There was no voice lines in the game, but now there are voice lines in the game.
That helps
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But you mentioned earlier, Sky, you mentioned JRPGs. I've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Hell yes. Yakuza's so funny.
And
So
it's my first Yakuza game, and I was just in the mood for something like different, that and something possibly turn-based, something that I could just like I hadn't really tried before, and so I have it on, it's on Game Pass. It's on PS Plus Extra. I don't know what the fuck the middle one's called. The one that has
I
the
don't
game
know
library.
anymore.
Does anyone know anymore?
Essential.
So
I think
weird.
it's essential, extra, then premium. I think that's how it goes. It's on extra now too. It's in their game library. Yakuza Like a Dragon. But nothing to say about. Although it is fucking wild. It is a wild game, and like every 20 minutes something super wild happens. The thing that I'm struck most about, and people play Yakuza games where like, yeah, duh, this is like why people love these games, but like around all that like ludicrous stuff that's happening, there is like excellent writing and character stuff going on, which I was not expecting that part of it, right? I knew it was going to be wild because I'd seen some like, videos of it. But I did a side quest, and I did pictures on Twitter of it, like of these men who were dressed as babies, these grown men dressed as babies.
So good.
But like, it's ridiculous, but there's actually like substance to it, like to what some of the things they say to you, and it's like kind of like, okay, there are life lessons in for these people who dress up like babies and have this woman like feed them milk and take care of them. But yeah, it's really good. And the thing I also did not know, I guess, because I never really played a Yakuza game before, is you think, oh, I thought it's like Japanese GTA, basically, right? It's about these gangsters or whatever. It is so wholesome,
It really is.
Like Ichiban, the lead character of this game, the new lead character, who obviously I think the first new protagonist in the series, is so wholesome. He's so nice. He basically has like this code he lives by, and he just wants to do the right thing, and like when he sees somebody who's suffering, he helps them out. He's like Robin Hood in a lot of ways. And I think that I did not expect that about it. And that's been a really nice thing to sort of experience going through it. I'm playing a little bit of time. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I'm playing like, an hour or two at a time, just sort of like, doing a couple story missions, doing some battles, but I've been really enjoying my time with it. I'm like 10 hours into it. I've been really enjoying my time with it. What were you going to say, Sky?
I was gonna say that like you need an endearing character to get away with some of the stuff that these games put in front of you, like the baby scene, or like somebody like summoning a friend with their phone, like that kind of stuff. It's wacky, it's fun, it's kind of dumb, but like you want to do more of it because you love these characters.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how your game's written well, if you got an endearing character that can get away with this kind of bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah. I mean, there are definitely things in it where you're like, this is definitely from Japanese culture, and some of the like social norms are a little more like regressive than social norms in the West are supposed to be. I wouldn't say, obviously mileage may vary on that as well, but so there's moments where I'm like, oh, that wouldn't, if this game wouldn't, that moment wouldn't be in a game published in the West, for sure not. But overall, it's good. And like, there's even stuff like, like a lot of the opening stuff is like to deal with like this like group of protesters who want to get rid of like all the gray areas in Japan, like these soap lands, which are basically like, brothels or whatever, like used to be like semi-legal brothels. But the game is like, for all the stuff that's like kind of like shitty about the game, like in the like those moments where it's like, oh, this is a little backwards, it is very like progressive about like sex work and like it not being something to be ashamed of, and it being like, all this kind of stuff. So that's interesting. Like there's like a weird dichotomy to that stuff.
Super.
Which has been very interesting to experience. And I just, like I said, really love the characters. Like I really love I have 3 characters in my party right now. Ichiban, Namba, and I can't remember the ex-cop's name right now. Adachi-san. And they're all really interesting and have a lot to do and have very different personalities, and it's just been really cool. It's been really cool to play it. So also my son can play some of the random battles because he's just it's all turn-based. So
Arcade.
sometimes he just wants to
Oh.
take it and play, and I'm like, oh, you can grind away on some battles for me and get me some XP, and I'll go do some other stuff while that's going on.
Mhm.
Sky, you've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses.
So I love that game. I've like 100%ed it,
It's a great game.
but I've never played the DLC. So
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna get this. It's called Ashen Wolves, and it's like really hard. Like Fire Emblem has never been an easy game,
No.
but with Ashen Wolves, I think they used this DLC as like an avenue to try new things. So new map designs, new enemy locations, new like win conditions and lose conditions. They are so out there. So as someone who's played Three Houses to the extent that I've played it, this DLC really threw me for a loop because I was expecting a whole lot of the same. It's hard. I don't lose when I play these Three Houses, okay? Because I could probably speed run that game. I am good at that game, but I booted this DLC up and got my ass kicked in 5 minutes, and I was like, oh well, this is humbling. This is very humbling. No, it's fun though. The characters are cool. You get 4 new classes, which is fun that they, transition into the actual game. So if you ever start up you finish the DLC, then you start up a new save file. Those characters are in that game, so you can recruit them, but their classes are too, so you can also attach them to other characters, and we can learn those new abilities and skills and stuff. So it's fun. I first of all, I love Fire Emblem. Like I'm a Fire Emblem fan.
Mm-hmm.
I got fan art behind my computer right now of like the prince from Three Houses. Like, wow, hello. But it's wonderful. So if you ever want a challenge and you enjoyed Three Houses and never thought, hey, I'm gonna spend $20 to get this DLC, it's worth it. Just for the humbling experience of it all, I recommend it. It's fun.
Yeah, I really like Three Houses a lot. I didn't end up finishing it. I think I put like 20, 25 hours into it, but I really enjoyed what I played, for sure. Cody, so we talked about toxic communities earlier in this podcast, and you have 2 games on here, which I would say probably have 2 of the most toxic communities on here. I'm assuming you have more to say about Tarkov than you do about Siege.
Actually, the reverse,
opposite. The reverse.
Yeah,
Okay.
Holy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, real quick, I'm appreciating Sky being on this podcast because, like, I have like an interest in Xenoblade Chronicles, and like, I've always wanted to play a Fire Emblem game, but I've never have. So it's like nice hearing about them from someone. That's kind of like pushing me to like, I should play these eventually, you know.
They're fun. I'm always here to talk about it. If you want somebody to be like, oh, a big plot thing happened, I'm here for it, man. You send me a message.
Yeah, so I got Tarkov because I felt like it was probably time that I tried it out, and I had a friend who was like, "Yeah, let's play together." They just did a new wipe, and I was like, "I don't know what that means, but sure, let's go for it." So like, I guess the way the game works is it is tough as nails, and it does not give 2 fucks about you at all. It's gonna kick your ass. And so like when they do a wipe, it like pretty much like starts everyone back over at the same level. And the idea is you're going on these like excursions to get loot, complete challenges that give you loot, things like that. That's kind of like the rough idea I've been getting out of it. And like you have a player character, but you also can just like load in as something called a scav, and like just go try to like get stuff and then get out and try to keep whatever you find. Um, I will say I probably put like 6 hours into this game. I have gotten out with a helmet once. Every other time, I have been sniped either by an NPC or by a real player. Because like the NPCs in this game are no joke. Like they see you, they're gonna shoot you and most likely kill you if you're not playing smart. Um, and then like getting into combat with real players is like scary because if you start making noise, then the scavs are going to show up, like the NPC scavs, or just random players are going to show up because they hear shooting, and you're so like you can literally get shot once and die. And I don't know, it's been a very long time since I played a game that's this hardcore about it. I don't think I've played one since like there was some game on the Xbox 360 I played that like it was very realistic and like you died within like 1 shot.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and I can see why this would be fun for people. I don't think it's for me.
It feels like it has like DayZ vibes in some ways, right? Where it's like ultra punishing
Yes.
and like, I am just waiting like for some like AAA developer to make like the kind of sanded down version of Tarkov, where it's like it has some of those trappings, but also is a little
Mhm.
bit more like penetrable. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
download some random launcher to
Oh
play it. Like they
god,
don't
yeah.
sell it on like the regular store.
The
Like
the
like
entire
that.
time I was buying it, I was like, "I feel like I'm gonna get a computer virus
Yeah,
from
yeah,
this.
yeah.
This is shady."
My identity is
Like,
definitely being stolen while I'm buying
yeah.
this video game. Yeah, because I get you. If it was like on Steam, like I probably would have
Mhm.
just impulsed
Yeah,
bought it by now. You know what I mean? But like that's
yeah.
not in front of my face, all the time. And Sam mentions Hunt Showdown as like a kind of an analog, and it's sort of similar, but like the scope of Tarkov is much bigger, and like the idea of Tarkov, there's like persistent mechanics. There's a lot of stuff that happens in Tarkov that Hunt Showdown is very much like, a run based, almost sort of like once you're
Mhm.
done with this, once you finish this match, it doesn't matter, and that's not kind of Tarkov works a little differently than that. So
Yeah.
that's the thing that's a little different about it.
I think like there's a game called The Cycle Frontier, I think is what it's called, and
Hmm.
that is on Steam, and it's like a more cartoony version
Okay.
of this. And I downloaded that to try it when I got told, "Hey, let's play Tarkov," and I
Hmm.
was like, "Okay, like whatever. I'm here. I'm in it to try it." Um, and yeah, I mean, like the shooting does feel good. I'll give it that.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, I just don't think it's the type of game I want to play like right now. Maybe I'll come back to it in a
Yeah.
little while after another wipe and like actually because I think we started like 2 weeks into the wipe, so like there were people with like kitted guns getting us.
Hmm.
There was literally a dude hiding in a tree. We don't even know how you get inside of a tree yet. So like I don't know what we're doing. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it
That's
was just
amazing.
yeah.
That mode in like Battlefield 2042 was supposed to be sort of like a
Mhm.
very whittled down version of it that mode they already closed, what they already
Yeah,
stopped
yeah,
supporting. I can't remember what it's even called now. That
yeah,
mode that was in
yeah.
that game. Um, but yeah. Um,
Yeah. And then I've actually like I've been really loving Rainbow Six Siege.
really, where are you
Yeah,
playing?
on
PC?
PC.
Oh,
Yeah, I currently only have the PC set up,
oh,
and
okay.
so yeah, and I got once again I bought it on the Steam sale,
Hmm.
and I got one of the packs where I got like pretty much every operator except for year one, which doesn't make sense. You'd think they
They have
would
a
throw those
very
in, but
weird
yeah,
structure of how you buy things in that game.
yeah, and so the first couple nights were rough. Like it's they've added so many maps since like we played that one time, Bobby.
Yeah.
And then like there's all these characters, and so it really just took like me going, okay, hey, I'm going to pick one character over and over until I feel comfortable with that character, and then I'll try another one. And
Mhm.
like it really just kind of came down to like me playing very slow. And like I'm not the best. Like don't get me wrong. Like I'm not out here fragging like I would in Halo. But like I'm doing pretty well. Like I've literally last night I played one game last night and I like the bomb was on the second floor. I like got my rappel up and I came up and I was just like peeking over this corner and I see this dude's foot walk underneath, from underneath one of the boards, and shot him through the wall, and I was like, "All right, I've made it. I'm a siege player now because I'm killing people that I should not be
Hell yeah.
killing."
Hell yeah.
Um, and like, it's just a lot of fun. Like, I don't know, like I'm like I guess it's like I don't know how long this game keeps getting supported for because like there's so many characters and
It's
like
ludicrous how many characters there are.
yeah. And
Yes.
like just the evolution of like looking at year one operators where it's like this dude has a sledgehammer versus this chick can throw grenades that are actually made of like shrapnel and when someone steps on them they explode in a cone and it can injure, kill, or just knock them down. And I was like, cool, whatever. Her name's Thorn. She's my favorite character so far because I can just throw traps. Um, and it's just a lot of fun. It's also like fun learning like different like oh you shouldn't be blocking off this wall. You want to like blow a hole in that wall so you have a sight line to like one of the main doorways of a building. It's like I don't know. Every time I play, I feel like I walk away learning something new about the game, and I'm kind of enjoying that. And like, I'll compare it to like I've been playing also a lot of Apex Legends on PC, and like I get more frustrated at Apex Legends currently than I do Siege, which is
Hmm.
mind blowing to me.
Interesting.
That is
Yeah,
interesting.
I think it's just because like on PlayStation, Bobby, where like we mainly play,
Yeah.
like I have like all these characters unlocked,
Hmm.
and I know what characters I'm good with and things like
Hmm.
that, and I know like my skill level. And then I go onto PC and play, and I'm getting matched with people on my team who like, not that they're a detriment, but like, how do you not know how to shoot a gun? We are like level 50 at this point. I don't understand.
I will say I've
Um,
played online games with Cody for a while. There was a
yeah.
gap in which we did not play together. Cody is much calmer than they used to be.
Oh yes, yes,
But I will say the angriest I've usually see you play a game is when we would play Apex together.
yeah.
Cody would sometimes say shitty things to to Justin and I.
Oh no,
Okay.
Cody's toxic.
I think
Oh no.
the three of us all had our toxic
Oh,
moments.
absolutely did. Absolutely did.
Mainly Justin did, by the way.
Okay.
It's
Absolutely did.
amazing. Oh
Absolutely
my god,
did.
that's so funny.
Yeah, I definitely have gotten a lot calmer about games.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, just like playing like on PC with Apex, just like also, when you're playing Apex on PC, when someone flies around the corner, perfectly sprays you,
Mhm.
lands 360s, kills somebody else, and you're just like, I'm playing on controller, man. I can't be doing any of that. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
again, the thing, I'm playing on controller and like I get aim assist. That's great for me. I can't be doing that stuff. I can't,
Yeah.
you
No.
know. So, but yeah, I've been really enjoying Siege. I'm like, once again, I'm a nerd, so I've started watching esports for it,
Mm-hmm, of
and like
course.
it's just fascinating to like, I was like, oh, I didn't know why they're doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
I always enjoyed Siege. It was
Mhm.
I would have kept playing it when we were playing it.
Yeah.
But people like the aforementioned Justin made sure that it was
Yeah.
never gonna happen again.
I don't like this. Well, I guess we're never playing this again.
Yeah, I guess so. Too bad I bought Hunt Showdown. We're never playing this again now. All right, Sky, Slay the Spire.
It's
Such
so good.
such a good game. Such a good
So
game.
Very good game.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another super difficult game. If anyone really likes the challenge and is into like deck building, even if you're not into deck building, if you could just like string together a strategy and you can figure out what cards work into that strategy, it's also a strategy game aside from its deck building. So I've gotten a win with all 4 characters. I put about 30 hours into it. I've been playing it for about like a month now. I got to I don't know, I think it's called the Cursed Heart or something like that, which is like the end boss
Yeah.
once, and it kicked my shit in. So you have to get like 3 keys while you're going through. First, you have to get a win in all 4 characters. Then you got to end up going through all 3, whichever character you picked, all 3 of the zones, and you have to get these keys. If you get all the keys and you make it to the end boss of the 3rd zone, you can go 1 step higher and you can fight like an extra boss, which is like the true ending. I'm bad at it, dude. Like I got to that point once, and I was like, I got there with a cool kick-ass strategy. So I was playing with the Huntress, and I did a poisoned shiv build. So I just had shivs for days, and every time I like attacked, I put a piece of like a debuff of poison. So it stacked like to like 40 and 50 and 60 sometimes, because
wow.
I was just like,
Mhm.
my cards went forever because I was like, I'm gonna use this card, get 4 shivs. All 4 shivs do extra damage because of this card. Then I'm going to pull this card again, 4 shivs. All 4 shivs also adding poison. So I was just like kicking ass. And then I got to the end because I've never, like, obviously my first time playing that boss fight at the end there. And I was like, my shiv build, psh, whatever, it's going to kick everyone's ass. And then you find out that every time you attack, you lose a health point. So I was like, I didn't know that. So I was doing like my 60 cards in like 1 turn. And by
Oh.
the end of it, I was dead. And I was like, what
gosh.
happened? Why am I dead? Apparently there's like a debuff that kills you like the more you attack, so you have to be smarter, right? And I was like, okay, this is not the build for this. But I got to it and I felt like a legend. I was like, yo, this is the coolest. That's my favorite character to play. I really like the poison, like the huntress, the second character.
Mm.
But man, I love that game. It's fun. It's just fun to pick up, like, because there's no commitment to it. Like, they're long runs, but the Switch, you can obviously, I play it on the Switch. You can just like sleep it and then go back to that run like whenever you want, which is really handy with that particular device. I've been playing a lot of Switch games lately. I'm on because it's the summertime. I want to go
Mm.
outside. I want to take the Switch with me onto the patio
Mhm.
with a drink. It's just it's fun. Um, but I don't know. Slay the Spire is a lot of fun. I recommend that one for sure for people who especially want a challenging game, and it's cheap. It's like half the price of like a AAA game, which is a bonus.
Mhm.
You can't really go wrong. Like content to value, it's there. You might as well give it a try, right?
Yeah, it's a great game. It was on Game Pass. I don't know if it's still on Game Pass. It was on Game Pass. I think it might also be on that PS extra tier as well if you're looking for it in those places. It's a great game. Yeah, it's awesome.
So much fun.
And I'm not
love
good at deck building at all, and I enjoyed it. So if that tells anybody anything,
If that's worth anything.
yeah, that's worth anybody. Mark says he sometimes misses doing runs on Hades.
Still one of my favorite
It's
games.
the best game, one of the best games ever made.
So good.
It's the best game
Hades.
ever made, for 100%. My last thing is the Cuphead DLC, which came out a little over a month and a half ago. The Delicious Last Course. And they announced this in 2017 and said it was coming out in 2018, and it came out in 2022. So
I love that.
And they asked there was an interview with the head of Studio MDHR, who's studio makes it, and they asked her like, oh, have you learned, like, did you guys learn a lot? Do you guys really get your pipeline down after this? And she goes, no, we made it. We just always make it as hard as possible on ourselves. Like, for instance, she said there is one boss in this game, in the DLC, that has as many animations as like an entire island of bosses in the base
Holy.
game. So it's nuts. I mean, if people, Cuphead is a very, speaking of hard games, an extremely difficult kind of boss rush game where you play as a little guy named Cuphead or his friend Mugman. And you take on these like crazy bosses, and it's all in this very like 1920s animated style. It looks amazing. It's one of the best looking games I think that's ever been made. It came out in 2016, I think, the original game. And I had played a lot of it, and I played a lot of it a couple of years ago because my son watches YouTube videos of it and is super into it. He can't play it obviously very well, but he loves all the characters. He loves everything. He loves like the show on Netflix. So, but I'd never beaten the game. Like, I had never gotten through all the bosses. And when the DLC came out, there's a new playable character named Miss Chalice. And she's got some interesting like mechanics where she can double jump. And she has one more tick of health than Mugman or Cuphead. But she can't equip these things called charms in the game, which are like kind of things that give you different like modifications to your abilities. So if you're going to use her, you have to use like her base moveset, or you can't. It also introduced a bunch of new weapons. One of them is called the Crack Shot, which is absolutely the best weapon in the entire game. It shoots like a high-powered burst close up, but then if it doesn't hit anything right away, it starts to track, and it tracks to an enemy. There's already a tracker weapon in the game, but it would always just track. It didn't have like it wouldn't necessarily go to the closest enemy first if it got caught on something else. It's a great weapon. Miss Chalice is a great character. Definitely awesome. So DLC Island is a whole new island. It has, I think, six regular bosses and one optional secret boss, and then a sort of like challenge arena where in the original game they have things called run and guns where the game was supposed to come out. Quick rewind on history of Cuphead. They showed it at an Xbox press conference. People went crazy and how good it looked, and they were like, oh, it's just bosses, and people were like, just bosses. Like, this game has too much focus on it now to just be like a bunch of bosses. So they put these like platforming levels into the game as well, which are fine. They're very hard. They're my least favorite thing to do in the entire game. They're just not what I'm there for. In the DLC island, they do this cool thing where you go up this like floating castle in the sky, and it has like a chess themed challenge thing where you fight pawns, a rook, a bishop, a queen, and but you have no weapons. All you can do is parry. So you only do the parry mechanic, and that's how you beat the things. Very, very cool. Some really hard, really fun bosses in the DLC island. They're really, really amazing. I was up to the final boss of the DLC island, and along the way I was going back, because you can take Miss Chalice and go back into the main game. And so I was going through the bosses I hadn't beat yet. And I was one boss away from making it to like the final, the casino, which is like the final two bosses of the game in there. You have to beat all the other bosses on regular to get there. My nephew we had a sleepover at my house for my nephew and my son. They both love playing Cuphead. They're both terrible at it.
That's so cute.
He wanted to
I
see the
love where this is
DLC, so he's playing the game, and then he stops, and then the next morning he wants to play again. So he's going to the main screen. He goes to hit start, and then he just starts like hitting a bunch of buttons on the controller, and he erased my save.
No.
That's so painful.
And he's 5.
So he's an adult.
Yeah.
He's an adult. He's very close to adulthood. He's, bordering on adulthood.
Oh my gosh.
It was me. He was sitting on the couch. My son was sitting there. My wife was sitting there, and my wife sees my face, and I'm just like,
Oh no.
like every part of me wants to go ballistic, right? Wants to start like screaming. And she's looking at me, and I'm like, and I just had to walk away. I just had to walk away.
You just put the dish rag in your face
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
I felt so crestfallen because it had taken so long for me to get to where I had gotten to. And my nephew knew something was up because of my face. He was like, "What happened?" I was like, "You deleted my save." And his look on his face, he was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to."
Oh.
And I was
You're
like,
so cute.
and I was like, "It's okay. It's okay." And then I was giving him like shit for it the rest of the day. I was like, so I was kind of like, okay, I'm done. Like, I can't do it. Like, I can't go back. It took me so long. I can't do this again. Like, it took everything in me to get to where I was. And my wife felt so bad. She felt so bad. So like, I woke up the next morning, and she was like, she also plays the game on her Switch, but she was on my Xbox, and she was like playing one of the first bosses. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "I'm just gonna try to get you back as close as you can get to, or whatever."
Oh, that's so cute too.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And so I was sitting there having my coffee, and she's having trouble with one of the bosses or whatever. And I was like, all right, just give me the controller. And then, I just started like steamrolling through bosses. Like, I was beating island after island. The next day I had to go to work. I came home from work, and like, I was like, let me just like finish off this one thing. And I just want to run, and I finished the fucking game. I beat the entire game, the DLC and the main game. It was like the best feeling in the world. So Sam, talking about cloud save backups. Here's the thing about the Xbox, Sam. It has cloud saves, but it doesn't have normal access to local saves. So Xbox's whole thing is that it just automatically backs up your save. It's their whole ethos since Xbox One has been like, you don't have to worry about your saves, man. Like, we're gonna take care of it. Like, don't even worry about it. We got you. Like, no worrying about uploading, no worry about syncing. It's just good. It's good. And we tried. Like, it was like, okay, delete your local save, let the cloud save replace it, and you might be okay. But it had just already happened. It had already replaced the save. And not unlike PlayStation, where you can like see like a list of your saves or whatever, you can't see that on Xbox. It just takes care of your saves. No saves coming on Xbox at all.
I'm a
Um,
save scummer, so
you
that
can
hurts.
do it. It's like you can like games that allow it, you can do it. But like if you want to like do all the endings at the end of like a From Software game, let's say, Xbox is not the platform of choice for which you to do that on. You can do it. It is possible to do it because you could back up a save onto a thumb drive and then
Ugh,
finish the
so many
game, then
steps.
delete your local save and then put it
Oh,
in. You can it's a big process or whatever. But
oh God,
there you
not worth.
go. Anyway, but I finished Cuphead. It's absolutely I think one of the best games I've ever made. Like it is an amazing game. It is hard as shit. And it drove me
Yeah.
crazy sometimes. Like there was a boss. There's this one boss. It's called Dr. Call's Robot. It's notoriously the most pain in the ass boss in the entire game. Could not. It's like it's I could not get past it. And like I took me like 2 hours to beat every boss up into him. And then I was just stuck on him for like over 2 hours trying to beat him. It took me like 2 nights of doing that. I beat him finally on the 3rd night, and I ran into the bedroom where my wife was laying down, and I was like, "I beat that motherfucker!"
Oh my gosh, good feeling.
It was definitely like an Orphan of Kos like moment of like
Yes.
of relief and elation. But yeah, Cuphead DLC really 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 great. People should play that game if they have not. I think that's all the games, right? We had to talk about this week,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
It's a wrap up.
That's a wrap up, and I think that's gonna do it for us this week. If you made it all the way to the end of the podcast, I hope that means you enjoyed it. So please rate and review us on your podcast platform of choice. Leave a like on the YouTube video if you're watching this on there. You can find us across social media at @side_quests pod. That's on TikTok, Instagram, and on Twitter. Next week, as we said before, we'll be discussing our 3 favorite characters in video games and what makes a great character in a video game. So you can get those into us on socials, in the YouTube comments, or join our Discord. Links in the description below. But that's gonna do it. So the way we sign off on the Misadventureland family of podcasts is we're all doing this. We're giving our time. So we thank each other for our time. So basically, I'm gonna thank someone. That person will thank the other person, and the last person will thank me essentially, and then I'll thank everyone for listening. So I'm gonna say thank you, Cody,
Thank you, Sky.
Thank you, Bobby.
and thank you to everybody who's watching and listening. Until next time, be good to one another. Later.